Present simple. We use a present simple for daily routine, habits, timetables, etc. For the first and second person singular form, I, you, and plural forms we, they, we simply use the infinitive form of the verb. For example, we walk to school. I ride your bikes. They study English. For the third personal singular form, he, she, it, we do something else. We use infinitive form of the verb, but we add a s. For example, he walks home. She plays hockey. It rains on Sunday. Now let's take a look at present simple in questions. Of the first and second person singular and plural form, we need the auxiliary verb to do and the infinitive form of the verb. Do I need a ticket? Do you speak English? Do they work on the farm? For the third personal singular form, we also use infinitive form of the verb, but we conjugated it to does and the infinitive of the verb. For example, does he ride his bike often? Does she cut your hair? Does it work on batteries? Now let's take a look at the present simple in negation. The first and second person singular form and plural form, we again use the auxiliary verb to do, but we add not to it, so it becomes don't and the infinitive form of the verb. For example, I don't need a ticket. You don't speak English. They don't work on the farm. For the third person singular form, again we use does and we add not to it, so become doesn't and the infinitive of the verb. For example, he doesn't ride his bike often. She doesn't cut your hair. It doesn't work on batteries. Time expressions. Every day, every month, every hour, every summer, every morning, every evening, and etc. Usually, often, sometimes, always, on Sunday, on Tuesday, and so past simple. I am going to show you how to form a past simple and when to use a past simple. But before we get started, it is good to know that in the English language we have regular verbs and irregular verbs. And it is advisable that you study the most commonly used irregular verbs. Now let's get started. How to form a past simple. For the regular verbs, we simply use the infinitive form of the verb and add ed. I ticket the ball. You closed the door. He wiped the table. We need to pay extra attention to verbs that end in an e, such as leave, close, and wipe. With these verbs, we use the infinitive form of the verb, but we only add a d. For example, he closed the window. They wiped the floor. I left her in 2012. We also need to pay extra attention to verbs that end in a y, especially those preceded by a consonant, such as spy, envy, and study. For example, he spied on his neighbors. We envied her cousin. They studied a lot. Now let's have a look at the irregular verbs. All irregular verbs have a unique past simple form. I built that shed last year. The infinitive form is to build. She taught English in the 1990s. The infinitive form is to teach. We ran the marathon in 2012. Past simple in questions. For verbs regular and irregular, we use the auxiliary verb to do. But we need the past simple tense, which is did, the infinitive form of the verb. For example, did you talk to him this morning? Did you ride your bicycle yesterday? Did they work on the farm last year? For the past simple in negation, regular and irregular. We also use the past simple tense of the auxiliary verb to do, which is did, and we add not to it. I didn't want to come over last night. We didn't walk to school this morning. They didn't listen to the radio yesterday. Let's have a look at the past simple in use. We use the past simple for things that have happened at a specific time in the past. So we need to know when it happened. Yesterday, this morning, in 2009. He left for New York yesterday. We ate our breakfast this morning. They got married in 2009. We also use the past simple in questions after when. When did you buy that t-shirt? When did you graduate from high school? The present continuous. But before we get started, it's good to know how to conjugate the verb to be. The singular forms are I am, you are, he is, she is, it is. Plural forms are we are, you are, they are. First and foremost, we need the auxiliary verb to be, the infinitive form of the verb, and ing. Take a look at the examples. I am working late. We are talking too fast. He is watching TV. She is walking to school. It is raining. Now, let's have a look at the present continuous in questions. We need the auxiliary verb to be, a verb, and ing. For example, am I getting close? Are you running late? Is he taking a bath? Is she playing tennis? Is it snowing? For the plural forms, are we going in the direction? Are you arriving by ferry? Are they eating their lunch? Let's have a look at the present continuous in negation. Again, we use the auxiliary verb to be, and we add not, the infinitive form of the verb, and ing. I am not waiting for you. You aren't looking for me. He isn't sleeping late. She isn't talking on the phone. It isn't freezing. For the plural forms, we do the same. We aren't putting up a tent. You aren't speaking at the same time. They aren't cutting paper. Now we are going to take a closer look at when to use the present continuous. We use the present continuous for things that are happening right now. So, if you look around you or maybe out of your window, you see all kinds of things going on. For example, I am watching TV at the moment. It is raining right now. Look, they are swimming in the river. We are also the present continuous for plans in the near future. For example, I am flying to Dubai next week. He is meeting her at the airport in an hour. They are moving this weekend. Past continuous. But before we get started, it's good to know how to conjugate the verb to be in its past tense. For the singular form, I was, you were, he was, she was, it was. For the plural forms, we were, you were, they were. How to form the past continuous? We use the past tense of the verb to be, so either was or were the base of the verb and ing. I was walking late. You were talking too fast. He was watching TV. She was walking to school. It was raining. For the plural form, we do the same. We were singing a song. You were doing your homework. They were looking for a hotel. Let's have a look at the past continuous in questions. Again, we use the past simple form of the verb to be. Was or were the base form of the verb and ing. Was I getting close? Were you running late? Was he talking about past? Was she playing tennis? Was it snowing? For the plural forms, we do the same. Were we going in the right direction? Were we arrived by ferry? Were they eating their lunch? Now let's have a look at the past continuous in negation. Again, we use the past simple form of the verb to be. So either was or were, but we add not to it, contracting it into wasn't or weren't the base form and the ing. I wasn't waiting for you. You weren't looking for me. He wasn't sleeping late. She wasn't talking on the phone. It wasn't snowing. For the plural forms, we weren't putting up a tent. You weren't speaking at the same time. They weren't copying paper. Now, let's have a look at when use a past continuous. First, we use past continuous for a temporary activity. In the past, it started in the past and it was finished in the past. I was watching TV at the moment. It was raining last night. They were swimming in the river yesterday.